Friday morning, March 27th, 2026. The Essential Buddha Dhamma, translated by Bruce Evans. We are in the chapter 9 from book 2. And chapter 9 is the morality factors of the Majjhima Patipata, the middle way, covering right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Now, we're in page 600. How should life be lived? Concentration factor of the middle way. Right concentration. Samma Samadhi. Right concentration is the last factor of the path. It is the factor with the most material for study, since it deals with training of the mind on a more profound level. It is subtle and detailed, both in the sense that the mind is in a subtle condition and in the sense that the practice contains such a wide-ranging and complex body of instruction. It is the summation or coming together of the practice. Samadhi is usually translated as firm establishment of mind, or the state in which the mind is resolutely fixed on its object. A common definition of samadhi is sita sekagata. Ekagata means one-pointedness of mind, and the state in which the mind is resolutely fixed on something and does not wander or waver. Commentarial texts further define the meaning of the state of one-pointedness of skillful of mind, and explain that this means successfully maintaining the mind in its co-commitance evenly and continually with an object. In layman's terms, holding on to your fixed awareness of an object and not losing concentration on it. The usual definition of Samma Samadhi in the Tipitaka is specifically the concentration of the four absorptions. In Pali language, it's called jhanas. Monks, bhikkhus, what is right concentration? Here in bhikkhu, in the teaching and the discipline, secluded from sensuality. Secluded from unskillful condition attains the first jhana, absorption, which has initial application of the mind, vitaka. Sustained application of the mind, vichara, and rapture and well-being born from seclusion. Monks attains the second absorption jhana, which has interclarity and one state of oneness. It has no initial or sustained application of the mind because they have ceased, and contains only rapture, well-born of concentration. Because of the fading out of rapture, dwelling with equanimity and mindfulness and comprehension, sati sampajana, and experiencing well-being in the body, he attains the third absorption jhana, of which the noble ones say, one who has equanimity and mindfulness indeed dwells happily. By giving up pleasant and unpleasant feeling through cessation of pleasure, somanasa, and woe, domanasa, he attains the fourth absorption jhana, in which there is neither suffering or happiness, but only mindfulness purified by equanimity. The above passages may be taken as a description of Samma Samadhi right concentration in its fullest sense. In some passages, seta seka gata is described as concentration faculty, samadhi indriya, as the following passage. Bhikkhus, what is the faculty of concentration? Samadhi indriya. Here, a noble disciple in the teaching and discipline attended to detachment attains to concentration and one-pointedness of the mind. Seta sekagata. This is called the faculty of concentration. The Ati-Dhamma definition is as follows. What is right concentration? Any establishment of the mind, resolute establishment of the mind, firmness of the mind, non-wavering, non-wandering of the mind, non-digression of the mind, calmness, samadhi faculty, samadhi power, right concentration, or samadhi enlightenment factor, which is a factor of the path, which is related to the path. This is called samma samadhi, right concentration. In essence, any concentration that is rightly used for the objective of liberation, for the wisdom that understand things according to the truth and not in response to selfish desires, such as desires to display psychic powers or special abilities, is right concentration. This is supported by the teaching that is possible to practice insight even from the elementary level of concentration, known as vipassana samadhi. The concentration used with insight for the development of wisdom, which is the level found between khanika and upachara samadhi, which is described below. The levels of concentration. In the commentarial lecture, samadhi concentration is divided into three main levels. The first level is momentary concentration, khanika samadhi. This is the basic level of concentration that ordinary people can effectively make use of in the performance of their everyday duties that can be used as the starting point for the practice of insight. The second level is active concentration, upachara samadhi. Closed concentration or concentration that is almost firm. It is the concentration on the level in which the hindrances have been suppressed before entering the state of absorption, or the concentration that is the precursor to attainment concentration. The third level is attainment concentration, apana samadhi, resolute or fixed concentration. This is the highest level of concentration found in all the four absorption jhanas and considered to be the desired results of samadhi practice, concentration practice. The second and the third kinds of concentration are often mentioned in explanation to meditation practice and are fairly clearly defined. Upachara samadhi is the concentration when the mind is firm through having abandoned the five hindrances in terms of the object of attention. It is the stage in which there arises patibhaka nimitta, an image of the concentration object in the mind's eye, more suitable and profound than a remembered visual object. Patibhaka nimitta is the product of pure sanya, perception. It is free from color or defect and can be expanded on, contracted at will. This kind of concentration is almost fully concentrated, almost absorption jhana. Once the level is mastered and familiarized, it firms up to one-pointedness, apana samadhi, and the factors of absorption jhana. However, the first level of concentration, Khanika Samadhi, does not seem to have such clearly defined parameters. Therefore, I would like to embark on the explanation of it here in order to give a general idea of its form and its context. In the Paramatthamajusa, it is said that Mula Samadhi, rudimentary concentration, and Parikama Samadhi, preparatory concentration, mentioned in the path to purity in the Visuddhimagga, are both varieties of Khanika Samadhi. Mula Samadhi is illustrated with the following passage. Therefore, bhikkhus, train yourself thus. My mind will be firmly established and well concentrated within, and bad, unskillful qualities will find no footing in my mind. This, bhikkhus, is how you should train yourselves. When your minds are thus firmly established and well concentrated, and the bad, unskillful qualities cannot find footing in the mind, train yourself thus. I will develop and make much of the mind, deliverance of goodwill, metta sito vimutti. I will make of it a vehicle, a foundation. I will make it firm, build on it, and bring it to fruition. This, bhikkhus, is how you should train yourself. When the kind of concentration is developed and made much by you, then you should practice this concentration that has both initial and sustained application of the mind. Has sustained but no initial application of mind, has neither initial or sustained application of mind. Has rapture, has no rapture, has pleasant feeling, has equanimity, and so forth. It is explained that the state of mind is at its center and the object of awareness, of state of interdependence, as described in the first paragraph of the passage above. My mind will be firmly established and well concentrated within, and bad, unskillful qualities will find no footing in my mind. This is Mula Samadhi, rudimentary concentration. The following passage in the second paragraph describes the stage of development, the further strengthening of the rudimentary concentration through the practice of goodwill. Rudimentary concentration, Mula Samadhi, is compared to the fire resulting from rubbing two sticks together or from striking a flint, while the development of rudimentary concentration through meditation on goodwill, for example, is like adding fuel to the fire to keep it burning. The third paragraph describes the level of rudimentary momentary samadhi, which is Appana Samadhi via Upatara Samadhi, developed into the absorption jhanas by concentrating on the object, such as Kasina device. Further examples can be found in Gautama Buddha's accounts of this own practice. I, bhikkhus, while living heedfully, ardent and resolved, had thoughts of renunciation, thoughts of non-enmity, thoughts of non-aggression arise. I knew clearly that thoughts of renunciation, thoughts of non-enmity, thoughts of non-aggression have arisen within me. Such thoughts are not harmful to me, nor are they harmful to others, nor are they harmful to both sides. They augment wisdom. They do not encourage distress and incline to nibbida, nibbana, nirvana, even were I to devote to the thinking such thoughts for an entire night. I foresee no danger resultant thereof. Even were I to dwell devoted to thinking such thoughts for an entire day, for the entire night and day, I foresee no danger resultant thereof. However, if I were to dwell devoted to such thoughts for too long, my body would become wearied. If the body were wearied, the mind would become distracted. If the mind were distracted, it would stray far from concentration. Then I, bhikkhus, directed my mind inward, calmed it, made it one-pointed and firm. For what reason? With the intention of not letting my mind become distracted. Bhikkhus, having exerted diligent effort unrelentingly with mind controlled, unwaveringly my mindfulness and body relaxed and not restless, my mind was firmly established in one-pointedness. Bhikkhus, I secluded from sensuality, secluded from unskillful qualities, attained the first absorption, jhana. It is explained that the passage on the first paragraph directed my mind inward, calmed it, made it one-pointed and firm. In the passage in the second paragraph, my mind was firmly established in one-pointedness, are referring to rudimentary concentration, mula samadhi, or momentary concentration that arose prior to the attainment of appana samadhi in the absorption jhanas described in the third paragraph. An example of parakama samadhi, one who wants to develop the divine ear after leaving absorption, inclines the mind to observing sounds, beginning with the sounds that are loud but distant, such as the tiger roaring or traffic noises. Proceed to notice progressively softer sounds, the sound of drums, bells, music chanting, people talking, birds, the breeze in the trees, insects, rustling leaves, and so on. Sounds that are audible to ordinary perception will be much clearer. For one who has parakama samadhi or kanika samadhi, some texts also add insight meditation between momentary and access concentration, upachara. This is simply momentary concentration applied to the development of insight on different stages. Now, we're going to move to obstacles to concentration. 606. The matter to be dealt with now is not concentration, but its adversaries. The things that must be eliminated before concentration can arise. Or may we say that they must be eliminated by concentration. They are called nivarana. The word nivarana means impediment, hindrance. It is technically defined as which impedes the functioning of the mind, that which hinders wholesomeness of the mind or deliberates wisdom. To give a more technical definition, they are that which prevents advancement in skillful qualities, or the unskillful qualities that defiles the mind and weakens wisdom. For example, the explanation of the titlakkhana, or the characteristics of the hindrances, therefore, in Buddhavasana. Bhikkhus, these 5 things are obstacles to skillful qualities, hindrances to growth. They construct the mind and weaken wisdom. They are upakilesas, stains or defilements of the mind that weakens wisdom. These 5 things are hindrances. They make one blind, deprive one of sight, create lack of direct knowledge. They create unknowing, crush wisdom, encourage distress, and do not lead to nibbida. One must be careful not to confuse the 5 hindrances with calm, samatha, or concentration, samadhi. The 5 hindrances are as follows. Kama chanda, wanting to obtain things, literally for sensuality, or abhija, covetousness. It is the desire for the 5 desirable, attractive, and pleasurable sense pleasure, visual forms, sound, tastes, smells, tangibles. It refers to the defilements of the greed group. The mind secluded by various objects is always wanting this and that, getting attached to this and that, and being drawn outward to other objects, being caught up in them. The mind does not become firm, does not flow smoothly, and cannot attain concentration, samadhi. The second, apayata, apata, resentment and aversion. It is aversion, hatred, resentment, negativity, aggressive thoughts, enmity, and many forms of aversion that aversion may take. The mind that is getting upset and clashing with things does not flow smoothly and cannot attain concentration. The third, dinnimitita, depression and lethargy, or boredom and melancholy. It is divided into dinna, depression, despair, dullness, or listlessness, which are mental conditions. Lethargy, laziness, sloth, drowsiness, lassitude, and torpidity, which are physical conditions. The mind dominated by these physical and mental conditions is not strong, fluent, and functional, therefore cannot attain concentration. The third is upacha kurukuta, distraction and worry. It is divided into distraction, unease, agitation, restlessness, and confusion, irritation, anxiety, vexation, and worry. The mind dominated by this is stirred up, agitated, and cannot settle down into concentration. The fifth is vichikicha, doubt. This refers to perplexity, uncertainty, and doubt regarding the teacher, the teaching, and the order, or the training. In brief, it is doubt in regard to skillful qualities, being undecided as to whether a certain practice is really valuable, beneficial, and worth practicing, whether it can really lead to results. Doubt becomes divided into two forks and cannot be settled. The mind is stirred, held down, and misled by doubts. Cannot become fully one pointed in concentration. The attributes of the concentrated mind. The training in higher mentality, ati sita sikha, is the training for the development of quality and efficiency of the mind. Thus, concentration, which is the objective of this training, refers to the mental state of optimum quality and efficiency. The mind with concentration contains the following main attributes. Strong and vigorous. It is compared to the stream of water channeled into one direction, which has great power, and the water that has been allowed to flow about without direction. Calm and serene, still and deep. It is like the pool or a lake of still water, the surface untouched by wind, unbroken by waves, clear, lucid, transparent. It is like still water without ripples, in which any dust settled to the bottom. Pliant and malleable, or fit for work, because it is not tense, not willful, not confused, not dull, not agitated. The synonym for concentration or samadhi, previously mentioned ekagata, one-pointedness, is usually translated of one-pointedness of the mind. However, analyzing the word, we find mental states similar to the attributes of strong and vigorous described in the list above. Ekagata comes from the root eka, aga, and ta, state. The word aga here is rendered as object, aramana, but its original meaning is to point or the tip of something. In this respect, The mind with samadhi is one that has a single point or tip. This has the quality of sharpness and is capable of cutting through things with ease. The mind is fully concentrated, particularly samadhi on the level of absorption, jhana. It is says in the commentaries to be endowed with the following 8 attributes, as gleaned from statements made by Gautama Buddha: concentrated, pure, cleansed, blemish-free, free from defilements, malleable, fit for work, unmoving. It is said that the mind with these attributes is in an ideal state for any undertaking, be it to the use of wisdom to examine and produce real, clear understanding, or in the use of creating psychic power and the knowledge of abhinyas, or the knowledge of attainments. In this regard, it must be stressed that the most prominent attributes of the mind is concentration, which is also related to the objectives of concentration, its functionality or fitness for work, kama niya, and the right kind of work according to Buddhism is work in relation to panya, wisdom. In the use of the mind, there has been prepared as fields of operation for panya, wisdom, to examine realities and develop realization of the truth. And in this respect, it should be added that right kind of samadhi is not the state of unconsciousness which one disappears into something, but instead into the state of bright mindfulness, clarity, a state transcending obstruction and impediments, a state that is free, independent, alert, buoyant, and ready for the use of wisdom. Consider the following Buddha Vachana. Bhikkhus, these 5 things are obstacles, hindrances, oppressions of the mind, which weakens wisdom. The 5 are sensual desire, aversion, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, doubt. That a bhikkhu who has not thrown off these 5 things that are obstacle, hindrances, oppressions of mind, which weakens wisdom, will know his own benefit, the benefit of others, the benefit of both sides, or will experience and realize the immaculate direct knowledge and the vision that make one's noble, that are beyond the ken of ordinary beings with ineffective and weak wisdom. It's not possible. It is like the river that springs from a mountain and flows for a great distance, its current strong enough to cast movable objects therefore. But a man comes along and breaks down the banks on both sides of the river. Then the current in the river is dispersed and flows aimlessly about. It flows neither far nor strong. It cannot cast movable things before it. The Hindu Brahmin Sankarava asked Gautama Buddha, Reverend Gautama, what is the cause? What is the reason that sometimes even those verses that have long been recited are not clear, let alone those that have not been recited at all? And what is the cause? What is the reason that sometimes even those verses that not have been long recited are clear, let alone those that have been recited regularly? Gautama Buddha answered, Hindu Brahmin, at any time that a person has a mind overcome with sensual desire, dominated by sensual desire, does not clearly know as it's the way out of sensual desire already arisen. At such time, that person does not see clearly. As it is, what is of benefit to oneself, what is it of benefit to others, and what is of benefit to both sides. Even those verses that have not long been recited will not be clear, let alone those that have been recited at all. The same is said for the person whose mind is overcome with aversion, sloth, and torpor, restlessness, and worry, and doubt, and the mind dominated by each of these hindrances is illustrated follows. The mind overcome by sensual desire is like the vessel of water into which lac, turmeric, or green or red dye has become or been mixed. A clear-sighted man looking at the reflection of his face in this vessel cannot see it as it actually really is. The mind overcome by aversion is like the vessel containing water that has been heated, which is bubbling and steaming. A clear-sighted man looking at the reflection of his face in this vessel could not see it as it really is. The mind overcome by sloth and torpor is like the vessel of water covered in slime and duckweed. A clear-sighted man looking at his reflection of his face in that vessel could not see it as it really is. The mind overcome with restlessness and worry is like the vessel of water over which the wind blows, causing the water to wave and ripple. The clear-sighted man, looking at the reflection of his face in the vessel, could not see it as it really is. The mind overcome by doubt is like the vessel of murky, muddy water standing in the darkened place. A clear-sighted man, looking at the reflection of his face in the vessel, could not see it as it really is. As for one whose mind is not dominated by these 5 hindrances, and who knows the way out of these, or the way out from these 5 hindrances already arisen, that person will know as it is of what benefit to oneself, of what benefit to others, and of what one benefits to both sides. Even verses that have not been long recited are clear to that person, let alone to those that have been long recited. The similes given above are repeated in opposite form for the mind to be free from hindrances. Bhikkhus, when gold is tainted with the following 5 co-commitments, upakilesas, it is not pliant, not malleable, not luxurious, but brittle and unfit for use. What are the 5? They are iron or other metals, tin, lead, and silver. When gold is free from these 5 contaminants, it becomes palatable, malleable, luxurious, not brittle, and fit for use. Whatever jewelry a goldsmith wishes to make, be it a ring, earrings, or a necklace, or a tiara, could be made from this goldsmith's wish. In the same way, when the mind is tainted with the following 5 contaminants, it is not palatable, not malleable, not clear. It is fragile, not firmly established. It is not samadhi, right concentration, on the cessation of the outflows. What are the 5? There are sensual desire, aversion, sloth, and torpor, restlessness, and worry and doubt. Whenever the mind transcends these 5 contaminants, it is palatable, malleable, bright, strong, and firmly established. It is samadhi. On the cessation of the outflows, moreover, whatever truth realizable through super knowledge one inclines the mind to experiencing and realizing, one is in a position of witness them for oneself when the conditions are there. If a bhikkhu is free from the 5 hindrances and has brought forth unrelenting effort, is controlled by unfailing mindfulness, his body relaxed and tranquil, not tense or agitated, his mind firm in one-pointedness, whether that bhikkhu goes, stands, sits, or reclines with alertness, he is said to be poised or possessed of effort. To have moral dread, ottappa. To be brought forth constant effort and dedicated himself wholly to the practice. These analogies of concentration, samadhi, from the commentators are worthy of note. It is said that samadhi, concentration, establishes the mind steadily on its object, causing the factors that arise with it to be harmonious, undistorted, collected, just as water sediments flour into dough, or just as water cements flour into dough. And it allows the mind to proceed strongly and unwaveringly, like a candle flame in its windless place. Its flame is still and constant, and it casts even light. Now this is, I'm going to leave off at the top or the middle page of 612. We will pick up on the objective and benefits of concentration samadhi on the next one. The Essential Buddha Dhamma, translated and edited by Bruce Evans.